All right, admittedly, all right. It was a good episode. It was actually like a really, really good fucking episode, actually. Like, it was like really damn good, actually. I mean, and despite, from my previous videos, of course, I obviously don't actually take a liking to Line, and neither do I actually should think I should take her seriously, despite she's probably is written to be taken seriously. She just seems like, just your typical, just you know, uh, always pissed off, aggravated, hot-headed dwarf who has to compensate with big shit and all that, and she will fucking destroy everything because she thinks she's on top. She's those type of characters, and especially how she's written and how the overall structure of her character and pretty much how she carries shit and her archetype. It's hard to just take Line seriously. So the character aside, I could care less about. But the whole fighting sequence with Team Ruby and Juniper and all of them, more or less, elaborate and jotting and plotting how to take down the mecha suit she was in. I kind of actually did think that the whole choreography, I kind of thought that fight in general was actually pretty good. Uh, and I may sound like a nostalgia tard when I say this, but actually, that's partially right, I would guess. But that would not be the main reason. I think I mostly like most of the choreography in this fight because it kind of really brings me back to the old style of Ruby of fighting, how things carried out, the animation, how they fought, how fluid it was, and all that whatnot. Since like Volume 3, it kind of reminded me a lot of that actually. Monty Ohm style choreography, fighting and whatnot. It kind of really gave me that vibe. But even if I did take nostalgic glasses off, of course, I would still enjoyed it because I think the scenes, the fighting scenes in this episode in general, actually had a lot of TLC into it. Had a lot of tending love and care. I actually did feel like the animators actually did go out their way to actually perfect it, to actually make it seem authentic enough and whatnot. And that's pretty much all I got to say on the part, pretty much on the overall fighting choreography in this episode. I mean, I'll get into more details later as I, of course, continue because this is only half of it. Um, uh, and I was kind of totally like just, I was just the part where Cunnaline catches one of Kelly Vera's missiles and flings it back at her ship, and it crashes against the mountain. They obviously writ that in for a suspense reason, like, oh no, what could have happened in the next episode? It was just a really failed attempt to keep you watching, like, which they didn't have to. I guess I mean they could just show them beat Cunnaline because you can kind of smell that like in the next episode that's what's going to happen. They're going to cut to them actually finally taking down the suit. So I that scene pretty much didn't do anything for me, or it didn't really prep me up to know what's going to happen next. It was just really it's just a really bad suspense scene, attempt at suspense. It was really bad shock value, and you can kind of already tell what's going to happen next, and I really wasn't convinced by it, whatnot. It's like if you see a dead possum on the street and you poke it to see what's going on, and no matter how many times you poke it, it's not going to budge, ain't going to do shit. And that's pretty much what I felt about that particular scene in general. Ruby's kind of notorious for trying to lead a lot of suspense in the next episodes, and they always come up short, or you always predict them, or they're just whatever, or you expected them, or they just, or they don't play off right in the next episode, don't kick off right, and that's pretty much what I that's that and that scene in particular pretty much further proves my point on it. But further on, considering most of the episodes kind of cut in half with Blake and Adams fight and whatnot. And honestly, when I saw this, I actually was like really just I had to get a new I had to get a new pair of pants because I was just so into that whole segment. It brought up so many good vibes and previous things that made Ruby popular. There was a lot of effort in it. There was a lot of TLC in there. It really shows that despite of the two egregious volumes that came before Volume 6 that in terms of fighting choreography, because believe it or not, that's pretty much the biggest highlights of Ruby in general is the fights, is the choreography, is the TLC put into them, the effort put into them, and it's just finally good, see that they haven't lost their stripes yet, or rather, they probably finally put on their glasses or something, or their monocles, or their microscope, or they saw through a microscope and actually came to a realization that their fights are kind of trash. So they kind of overlooked it. Like, yeah, let's entertain these niggas again. Let's actually make these look like they're good. And they actually really did pull it off in this. So yeah, man, I think congrats. It's actually a really that the choreography, especially with this fight that I'm getting to, is like pulled off really great. So yeah, it's a hand clap. I enjoyed it. Uh, and on that, like there was a lot of things that paid tribute to Volume 3, the best season, by the way, with pretty much the with Blake's and Adam's fight. It was a lot, of good things about it, good reminders, good vibes, and things that really just pump me up. And like, oh yeah, I remember that. And, they pulled it off in this new HD graphics, or just decent graphics to make it look good. And they look back at some episodes, and they were looking at the good things about Ruby in terms of its fight and choreography and how it plays off. And they bumped it up, they brung it back, they cleansed it. They gave the fans what they want. That's, or at least I'm speaking on my behalf on it. And yeah, that's pretty much what I felt about it. Uh, and narrative perspective, let's see, Red Grimjow, I can give half a shit about, but the whole face reveal, actually, I was kind of surprised, and I'm kind of actually at the point I figure out why Adam. I mean, I always knew why he hates humans, and that because Ruby's always notorious for not, depicting, the racism humans have against faunus. And when he took off the bandana and revealed that the Schnee Company, and or the more one percenter humans in the Ruby world was more or less responsible for his markings and his damaged eye, and he's on a constant path for blood. So yeah, I like the fact that Ruby now and then is actually showing that there's racism in the series. That some humans are shitty and some aren't. Like, actually, I like the fact they're actually they actually proven it now, and it's not just hand waved or mentioned here or there, or told in exposition that humans are oppressing faunus. There's actually proof now, and that was one of them. I mean, and I really hate to bring up things because I want to judge things judge things for its own artistic property, but you know when people discuss racism, especially in fictionalized universes, I feel like X Men pulled that off better. In certain aspect, Bleach pulled that off better. The Avatar pulled that off better. Actually, Avatar pulled it off pretty good. Dragon Prince, technically, that wasn't hand waved. They actually did prove that better. The humans were scared shitless of the Moon Shadow Elves because they were revered as bandits and murderers, and they were cloaked in the night and no one can expect them, and they always did sneak attacks and all that. Like, I just feel like the racism is pulled off better in those listed medias I named, and Ruby is always notorious for not for not doing it. But in this episode, they actually finally did reinforce the main issue that humans have for faunus. Like it's that whole idea of the faunus being oppressed, the racism and all of that. The upper class humans and the lower class is supposed to be faunus and whatnot. With that whole scene in general, not only do we understand more about Adam and about Red Grimjail, but it also shows that it also reinforces the racial oppression that faunus are undergoing by humans. So that again was good on the narrative aspect, and just like when Blake and Ray Grimjow fought for the first time, and fought for the first time in Volume 3, and he stabbed Blake to hurt her, and then it antagonized Blake to attack him, and she got her arm cut off with Moon Slice. I kind of felt like the time he was about to stab her, but it was a shadow. It was a really good callback to Volume 3. And again, like I said, it actually looks like the writers and the animators are finally listening to us. Because again, if y'all actually heard how I felt my reflection on 2008 video, like the only way you're actually going to get better is with criticism, whether it's negative or bad. And yeah, I get it. It's your artistic property, but if you're gonna, put it out for people to see it, and you get mad when people judge it, then you kind of you rather have yourself to blame, or you shouldn't be putting your work out for people to see it if you're gonna bitch and complain about what people's gonna say about it. But actually looks like Rooster Teeth actually saw some criticism. They saw what they had to change. They saw what they had to improve. They saw what they were doing good at, and it pretty much they pretty much did pull it off in this episode in terms of choreography and the narrative perspective, and more or less hand waves to fans, and not just tedious and pointless just fan service like Neo. You just pretty much show her in like 2 episodes, and pretty much she's vacant for the whole season, so it's pretty much pointless. And especially how she was just fucking ass pulled and thrown onto the screen as soon as she got there. In this episode, I feel like the hand wave to the fans, the fan service in this episode, it was good. It was pulled off right. It was a callback, and it wasn't just pulled out their asses and flung on there. And like I said before, I have nothing against Neo, but I feel like the fan service for Neo in Volume 6 was just really ass pulled. So yeah, that's just pretty much my take on it. But yeah, the fight, it had a lot of callbacks. It was pulled off really well. It looked pretty good, etc., and whatnot. And Blake shows up, and she literally fucking like no joke. She literally hurls her bike at Adam, and he gets hurt. And you might expect like his semblance to, his ore, the ore comes out and whatnot, but no, he actually just the bike smacks right into him, gets fucked up. And for a while, I keep asking, how is Oris like consistent in this or not? Like they show it, they show Oris, like when they show someone get hit, they show the ore, but sometimes they actually do show people get hurt, like the ore is not theirs. And I think if you get hit with a bike and hurled off into a cavern, you'll rather die or go unconscious or drown. But I'm just saying the auras here and there kind of become a little inconsistent here and then, and whatnot. And actually did find her little intrude, and her pretty much her part of the fight with Adam was pretty good and whatnot, and it was pulled off in this episode. Uh, it was more or less saying, "You remember what you did? You remember what you did to me? You remember what you did to me? Now I'm back for blood." That's pretty much what that segment really spoke out to me. Like I ain't scared of you. Or I ain't scared of you. Because literally, in one part, literally when the camera pans over Yang's ass, they show her hand crippling with fear. Goes to show, in here, yeah, I'm sure, but when in physical, when I'm dashing that shit out, in combat, I ain't scared of nobody. Intimidate me. So yeah, I kind of did think on a narrative perspective that was pretty clever. It was pulled off pretty good. Uh, Yeah, so yeah, they pulled that off pretty good. Narrative perspective. Yang fighting her fears physically and and but still but still scared mentally. Although personally, although I did appreciate this in Yang, although I can give half a shit about her about that character, I kind of did, I kind of did thought that was clever, and in terms of my philosophy, it's kind of whatever because having this physically doesn't make you strong. You kind of have to have a mind to match this to make you tough, so to speak. But yeah, I still feel like it was pretty pulled off with the narrative agendas with the narrative agenda they were pulling off with that character, with that moment, with that scene. Although personally, you kind of need a man to match to be tough. You can't just go up there and bam everything. You kind of and they think everyone you're tough. You kind of have to have a mind to match. Body and mind needs to be at an equal. It may sound like some kung fu shit and whatnot, but me taking boxing for 3 years, I kind of developed some philosophy of my own, some terminology and whatnot, and I come to that point where you kind of have to need a mind to match with your body so you can be excellent. I mean, you can be perfect if you're just tough, but with a mind to match, you'll be sublime. You'll be excellent. You'll be great. I can't find any other words to say it, but yeah, y'all get the picture. I'm just probably rambling about my past life of being a boxer and shit, but that scene just really actually spoke to me, and I have contrasting appeals, or even some respect for it, or sometimes I disagree with it. It's Reverend Witch. It's Reverend Witch. I respect it, but in terms of as far as my principles goes, it kind of contradicts it a bit. But not to point out, believe it, because Ruby's a fucking cartoon. What I'm gonna learn from it? I know it may sound fucked up, but it is what it is. Ruby is a work of fiction. I'll stick it. It should stick as a work of fiction. It's not this psychological social commentary piece. It's an action fiction, Maho shoujo, and that's where it should stay. No offense, but it is what it is. If I hear somebody actually trying to take real social commentary, real meaningful stuff in life from a movie, unless you're a kid, then I'm gonna laugh your ass off because it's a fucking cartoon. Like yeah, they can, like yeah, these characters can feel just like any other person, but don't forget this is a work of fiction, and you can't really apply it to the real world. Real world principles and social commentary, comes from real life experience and whatnot. And any artistic property like a Scanner Darkly or Death Note or Ghost in the Shell that pretty much replicates it. Uh, or more so, yes, they're trying to get their message across, but I feel like they're more so just already more or less explaining what's already going on with human psyche and whatnot. So yeah, you can take it from there, but you still have to understand that what they write about, what most of their information is based on, is from shit that already happens in real life. So, in other words, a Scanner Darkly and Perfect Blue and any of those really psychological or social commentary pieces of work in anime, uh, yes, they reflect on here, but it should be apparent if you live life long enough, in the real world to know what's going on and whatnot. So yeah, that's I'm just probably ragging, but it is what it is. And, just don't be as pretentious as how Naruto or My Hero Academia is. I don't see those animes as social commentary. I just see them as action animes with characters that do still that still do reflect on real world principles and moral codes and whatnot. That's as far as it go. If you were actually to say that, I took something in life to live with from Naruto and My Hero Academia, then, I kind of lost your faith in me. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not going to take some life learning lessons from a fucking kids' cartoons. I simply just look at them. Well, if I did, which I don't, I simply just look at them for pure entertainment. I don't look at them to get preached because they're pretentious and they suck at it and whatnot. So yeah, that's how I pretty much feel about it on that part. Back to Ruby. I know I'm getting sidetracked with all this side chit chatter and whatnot, but it is what it is. Um, mm. Yeah, more so by the end when they pretty much were comforting each other. Yang and Blake, when they were comforting each other, they pretty much confirmed like, yeah, they eating each other's pussies or something, or they teasing each other, or they sucking each other's titties, or knowing Yang, she's probably into some rough stuff. She probably shoves a broom up Blake's pussy or something. I don't know. That pretty much, I'm pretty much saying yes. Bumblebee is confirmed with that very scene alone. It's not just a friendly girly thing now. They're gay. That's pretty much what they're pretty much just. That's pretty much what they were pushing in this. They're lesbians. They suck each other's pussies. It is what it is. It is what it is with Bumblebee. It's confirmed. It's set in stone. That's been set in stone. It's pretty much like a new writing literary term I came up. The stone settler. Like, something is hinted here and there, or it's provocated here and there between the story and whatnot. And when this particular scene comes up, it pretty much fully establishes, it fully reinforces that this is a thing, this is possible, this is true. And I took my own term, like I said before, sometimes I make my own terminology, so I can have a better jog in my memory. And what I chose was the stone settler, and that particular scene, that particular cutaway, well, not cutaway. That particular scene in general, that whole comforting scene in general, pretty much was the stone settler that ship has sailed. That they're a couple. It is what it is. Anyone probably who already seen my previous video on it probably already asking probably asking how that felt about the cutaway from the previous episode when they were about to fight, and this being the follow up, and how I felt about it. Like, did it succeed my expectations, or was it did it play off good? Was it just going to lead up to nothing? Well, in this episode, actually did pull off pretty well, and this is actually one of the first times you actually see Adam pacifistic. You could say, like, or at least at one point he's not as agitated. He's stationary. He's actually giving them time to discuss. That's what it kind of provocates to me in that particular scene. So the answer to the question, yes, it actually did. It actually did. It didn't subvert my expectations. It was pulled off pretty well in this particular scene, and I'm actually pretty glad they went with this route. That's all I pretty much got to say. I'm gonna have to give this episode of exceptional. It was actually like really good. Like, honestly, until the series ends, of course, until I give my complete concluding evaluation on RWBY, like when about the time the last episode comes out and this season's out. I'm gonna say this is actually amongst one of my favorite episodes so far. Actually, with a few, only the first four or five. Yeah, they had a lot of, like, just repetitive writing and whatnot in them, especially with Jen and whatnot, and the origin of Ospen and Salem. Like, yeah, it was predictable, and I kind of guessed this all coming here and there and whatnot, like and whatnot. It was pretty good, but actually, yeah, those first four episodes, I'm gonna say were my first three. Actually, first three were actually gonna be my top favorites from this episode. But from what I've seen right now, I think episode 11 right now is currently actually my favorite. It just really kept my eyes glued to the screen when I saw it. It really did its job well. So yeah, it's exceptional. Yeah, yeah, I already know the drill, man. Drop a like if you like the video. And check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Instagram. Check my DeviantArt account. When I get around to it, when I upload new work, I kind of been ripping and running. I've been kind of busy for a while. I really couldn't. I really don't have enough. I really didn't have enough time to sit down and do illustrations at the moment because I was like extraordinary, like passionately, like really busy right now. And I swear to God, yeah, I'll get right. I'll get right to it. But right now, just still enjoy what I uploaded for now and whatnot. That's all I'm just saying and whatnot. So yeah, just check your boy out on the other websites I posted on my YouTube icon and whatnot. So yeah, check them out and whatnot. Yeah, this is in a review, man, and like always, man, the storm is watching y'all.